Good. So now let's continue with our update method and route. Let's first start with our route in our main.go. Now the same way we did for showing a singular book, so that one took a parameter ID, which was the ID of that particular book. So the same way we are going to update a particular book, we also need the ID. So now it will be the same way, so like this, and in this case the name of our method will be update book. And now because we are updating, we are modifying the content of that particular book, we are not going to use get, we will use put. Okay, good, like that. Because we don't have our update method, we have this error. So now we'll go ahead and create our update book method. Good. So let's go into our controller and we will create it. Now everything over here will be the same way. When getting a specific book, we created an ID, a variable ID, which the gen context handle it with the para method for the ID, extracted the ID and save it over here, and we later on use it. We created a variable called book, which was an instance of the books, the model struct book, and we connected and all that. It will be the same. We have to first get the book before we can update it. So everything over here will be the same. So let's copy all of that. Good. Then let's do it like this. Then the method will be update book. So everything will be the same. We will need the ID, the variable, and all that. We will need the database for GOM to bring us the specific book. Then we can go ahead and bind the data and then update that specific book. So now let's continue from there. So now we will again create another variable, and that variable is going to be an instance of the book struct in the model, and that is what we are going to let gen use to store the incoming updated data that you are going to receive in this method. Okay, so let's continue with that. So we create a variable and we call it update data. Okay, let's call it update data. Okay, and as the same way is going to be models.book. Good. Now we are going to let gen handle that. Gen is going to bind the incoming, the request data that we are getting. It's going to bind the request to this variable, and then we can now pass this request data to what we currently have in the database and modify it. I hope that is clear. So let's go ahead. So you do the bring in the gen context c dot, then there is this method in the gen context called should bind JSON. Okay, we see it over here. Should bind JSON. Okay, and inside it we are going to use the pointer of the variable update data that we have over here. Like this. Okay, good. Then we are going to handle an error in case the request coming in, for us to bind that to that JSON request coming into our variable, in case there is an error. Okay, so in Go we can do that with an if statement, and you can actually declare a variable in the if um, statement before we handle the condition in the if. So for instance, this we can have something like this: if error, as we are checking for the error, if error is equal to, so this is the variable. We have declared the variable called ERR, the error, and we are saving the binding, the JSON binding to the update data. Then we can now bring in a, a semicolon, then a semicolon, then we can now bring in the condition that if the error is not nil, then we go ahead and output whatever we want to output. So in Go, it is allowed. You can actually declare the variable before you bring in the condition of the if statement that we are handling. So it will check for this. If in the case of binding the incoming request JSON data to our variable over here, if an error occurred, yeah, then we handle that one gracefully. Okay, so let's continue with that one. Good. So we will have, if there's an error, then we will check for the status, the HTTP status of it. So we will do JSON, then we'll bring in our HTTP, and we will use the status bad request. Okay, we have it over here. Status bad request. Then Jen will take care of the error for us. Okay, and we will say it is an error, and the message will be invalid request, data. Okay, don't forget your comma as well. Good. Then we will now return it. All right. Now we now go ahead and update our data in the database. Great. So we are going to bring in the book variable that we declared here, which is actually what we currently have in our database, and we will update it with the incoming request, the new modification that is coming in from here. All right, so this is how it's going to be. So we bring in the book dot title, as we have in the struct. So every book has a title. So book dot title will be equal to the update data dot title, like this. Then we will continue book dot author, and that one will also be update book dot author as well. Update data, sorry. Okay, dot author as well. Then lastly, we'll do the year of the book. Okay, so here will be year, then year as well. Great. Then GORM is going to, after updating it, GORM is going to save it. So we will bring in the database dot the db, the global variable we declared in the db folder. Okay, so dot the db, then dot save, and it's going to save the book. And don't forget, it's going to be the pointer of the book. That is how we can modify it and save it perfectly. Great. Then we bring in that percent. Then we are done. Then we now bring in the status. If the status is okay, everything is perfect, then we'll bring in the book. Good. As we did over here. The same thing. Alright, great. Now we are done. Now let's start our server and write a curl command that is going to update a specific book. So go run main dot go. Okay, our server has started. Let's allow. Okay, now let's go into our browser to check it. So let's see. Okay, good. So we have welcome to bookstore. Our server is running perfectly. So if we do books, okay, we have all the books in here. So let's modify the first one. Okay, so the first one, we have it as an ID of 2 over here. You see that? Good. And the title of that book is the Go programming language. So we will just update that one and add update to the name. Okay, and see if it works. So now let's go to our terminal. Okay, let's open another terminal over here. Good. And let's paste our curl command. Okay, we have it like over here. So the Go programming language, and we've added into bracket updated. So that is what we are updating. And when we check it, it had an ID of 2. So as we see it over here, so /books. Okay, so let's edit. So it will be ID 2. Okay, so the ID is 2 as we have it over here. Good. Perfect. The same way, the ID is 2. So it is that one that we are updating. So ID 2, and we've bring in our updated over here. Now let's run it and let's see if it's worked perfectly. Okay, good. Now we've gotten the JSON response back, which means that it has been updated. Now let's go and check over here. Let's run it again and see if it has been updated. Now when we refresh it, we see it over here, Go programming language into bracket updated. So we have actually modified it. Our update method and route is working perfectly. So if we come to /2 and bring that one alone, we will see it over here, the programming language updated, and that is working.